Welcome, everybody. I'm Todd Bingham, President and CEO of the Utah Manufacturers Association. Welcome to week 6 on the Hill. Excited to be here with you this Friday afternoon, almost to the first week of March. We got one more week of the legislative session as things are starting to get really crazy. I've got a special guest with me here today. Andy Pierucci is the Manager of Governmental Affairs, Governmental Relations for Northrop Grumman. Andy, welcome.
Thanks, Todd. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Excited to have a little conversation today. And for those of you folks that don't know, Northrop Grumman is a phenomenal manufacturer both here in Utah and across the country that play in a variety of different spaces in the manufacturing world. Andy, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about Northrop Grumman.
Yeah, thanks, Todd. Well, as you said, I'm the manager for state and local government relations with Northrop Grumman Corporation. It's the largest aerospace and defense company in the state of Utah. We have close to 7,000 employees. Hopefully we'll be over that mark by the middle of the year, which is pretty exciting just given how quickly we're growing here in the state. I come from a background of kind of jumping in between state and local government, and then also the business world and the political campaign world as well. Spent a couple of years running Congressman Bishop's campaign. Also was involved with the state of Utah, working for the Department of Agriculture for 4 years in a variety of roles: policy, marketing, international relations. But I'm really excited to be working with Northrop Grumman Corporation. It's an awesome company with incredible people. Literally, we have the rocket scientists in Utah who are doing some incredible things, advancing human knowledge and understanding and protecting our warfighters. So it's an honor to be here, and it's fun to be able to represent such an awesome company.
Yeah, awesome. Northrop does some amazing things. In fact, just this last week, we watched some of the components, pieces, and parts that have been manufactured through Northrop Grumman on the Mars rover.
Yeah,
and,
it was pretty cool to know that something that was made right here in Utah was landing on another planet last week.
Very cool. I get excited about watching all that stuff. So, UMA on the Hill is new for us this year, and an opportunity to talk to our manufacturing companies about what we're doing politically. And what we're watching on the Hill, and certainly coming into this last week, the session gets a little crazy in the last week. For most of our folks, I think most of them know midnight on Friday the 5th is the last of the legislative session for 2021. By statute, you can't go past midnight, and so as the clock starts to tick and we run out of time, things can get a little crazy. Bills that you want to see passed sometimes might not make it, and then bills that you don't want to see passed sometimes maybe do. Time can be our friend in this type of thing. But I wanted to visit just briefly with you today a little bit about some of the areas that Northrop Grumman's looking at, and that are focus and interest for you guys as one of the largest manufacturers in the state. So what's on your plate? What are you guys watching this session? Yeah, I know what you're watching, but let's tell the folks what we're watching.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And first off, just want to say I really love that you do this program. I think it's a great way to engage with the manufacturers and also engage with the policymakers about the issues that matter to your members. And so for Northrop Grumman, we're lucky here in Utah. I cover about 8 states for the company, and Utah is really great to do business in. The policies that come out of Utah's Capitol Hill are more often than not really business friendly. And so oftentimes what we're doing during the legislative session is just monitoring some minor legislation and supporting those things that we care about the most. More often than not, that's STEM workforce issues. We're really supportive of any and all efforts that increase access to STEM education in Utah, and then also working with key legislators on workforce development initiatives. They're going to help bring those jobs to Utah and help Utahns actually fill some of these high-paying roles that we have available to us. Yeah,
I think everybody knows that STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math degrees and careers, but talent acquisition, talent retention is an issue across the country. In fact, as I talk with my colleagues across the country, different associations, it's always a key issue. Utah, sometimes it can be exacerbated because even throughout the last year in the pandemic, we're back down to mid 3% unemployment, which is nearly full employment. So, what are the jobs that are the toughest for you guys to find with Northrop Grumman?
Yeah, when you break down that unemployment number, it gets even more difficult for the aerospace and defense industry, because when you look at the positions that are open, most of them require a clearance of some kind. And so the pool of potential applicants is even smaller and even more narrowed. And so we're competing amongst each other and amongst other states. And the aerospace and defense industry is also an industry where a lot of employees go for the best jobs. And so it's not as tied down by geography as other industries are. And so we're hiring for everything right now in Northrop Grumman here in Utah. We're hiring from janitors to general business administration, business management positions, and then we're also hiring a ton of different engineering positions. We recently got awarded a contract for the ground-based strategic deterrence, which is the next generation of the land-based nuclear missiles from the Air Force. And so that's where a lot of our hiring efforts are focused on right now. The program headquarters, and in fact the division headquarters for that program is here in Utah, in Roy, Utah. And so we're hiring a lot of systems engineers, a lot of nuclear engineers, and just you name it, we're hiring for it in STEM right now.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting statistic, and I'm sure it's fairly accurate within Northrop Grumman as well, because I know it is within aerospace, but typically within the state, for every engineer that you have within the company, there are typically 7 technical trained jobs for that engineer. And so if you're hiring at an engineering level, you even need even more technically trained individuals who do all those other types of jobs. And those jobs are, as we know, the average wage for manufacturing in the state is just over $70,000, and is second only in wage to mining. So they are seriously living wage jobs. One of the focuses as we talk about STEM is how do we focus more on finding youth and veterans and return to work positions, whether it be the refugee pool, our immigrant pool, whatever those areas are that focus on degrees with marketplace relevance. And when we say that, it's these types of jobs. So, what are you doing at Northrop Grumman, or what are we doing legislatively to help with that?
So I think part of the challenge is combining what industry needs with what the educational institutions are offering. And Utah has actually done a really good job of working on focusing on that. Right now there is a program that's being pushed at the legislature for appropriations. It's systems engineering credentials. Senator Milner has been a fantastic advocate for higher education, working with industry. And this is a product of a lot of her advocacy. It was funded last legislative session. The funding was cut because of the pandemic. We're expecting it'll be returned again this year. Yeah. That's going to create some systems engineering credential programs, both certificates and a bachelor's degree at a couple of universities here in the state. Things like that are going to help give Utahns the skills that they need to get these high-paying jobs. Yeah. And just to circle back on the median wage, for GBSD, for what we're hiring for right now, the median wage is actually closer to low 6 figures, nice. Which is pretty exciting because that's above living wage here
Absolutely.
In the state of Utah.
Yeah, and again, most manufacturing jobs in the state are about 28% higher than the median wage in the state to begin with. So that's even above that. But fabulous news because again, there are jobs. The point I wanted to make to our folks, and most of our viewers know this because they're in the industry, is that there are jobs in every aspect of manufacturing out there. Some that require post-secondary education, some that require certificates, some that require 4-year degrees, master's degrees, doctorates, whatever those are, but they're at every level. And so the public, one of the things that we're working on in the next year will be some serious campaigns on how to manufacture made in Utah products and the jobs and careers that go along with those, so that we can take that pipeline, like you mentioned, that Senator Milner's been a huge help with us in creating pathway programs, and how we increase the flow of talent across the board. And we have to do it as a rising tide lifts all boats, because every sector has a need for workforce.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think that you hit the nail on the head. We have to show what that pathway looks like for students that are entering the workforce, and show what, if I get, this degree and this credential, this is what I can do. Yeah. And I think, especially with younger generations that are driven by a mission and a cause, the aerospace and defense industry presents some incredible opportunities for a valuable mission. What better way to spend your day than to be able to help land a rover on another planet, or to be able to help protect America's national security? Like these are jobs that have meaning, and that save lives and keep our country safe.
Very cool. So hopefully we can get those appropriation dollars back in and really work on that program. We've got some great things, strides we're making. And to echo your point, industry and education have done a good job for manufacturing and dovetailing together. We've got to continue to do that. If I've often said Utah has the highest birth rate in the country, and we have the lowest median age. If we can't figure out how to get our arms around this workforce talent acquisition problem, I'm not sure anybody can, because we're putting more kids into the pipeline. We've got to figure out how to encourage them to follow that pipeline and pathway into manufacturing. What else keeps you up at night as a manufacturer with Northrop Grumman? What other key issues do you need to solve?
It's all about talent for us. And on the talent piece, it's about diversity and inclusion as well. It's something that Northrop Grumman is passionate about. We believe that having a diverse workplace increases the value that we bring to our customers. And so a variety of opinions, a variety of backgrounds, it's something that we're focusing on a lot. And appreciate efforts the state of Utah has taken to make diversity and inclusion a priority. It's something that the business community is asking for, and it's something we're seeing happen.
Yeah, well, and as the dynamic changes over the years, the makeup of our population in the state, we need to address that to make sure that the workforce is there. And it's certainly talked about that in our podcast a couple weeks ago on diversity, equity, and inclusion with Sarah Jones and Sean Newell. So great discussion on that. And when you tie it back to workforce, for anyone who has a question about why we ought to be addressing that, workforce is a huge component and part of that. And again, as I said, 3% unemployment. That's a great figure that we like to throw around as a state as a measure of our success. And that is a great number unless you're trying to hire someone.
Yeah.
And then if you're trying to hire someone, you start to say, well, if they can fog a mirror and pass a drug test, we'll hire them. And we're not quite there yet, but there's a lot of projects, a lot of work going on in the state of Utah, and we need to figure out how to get to that workforce. So
yeah, couldn't agree more.
What else is on your plate?
Obviously, just like everybody else, COVID-19 has been top of mind for Northrop Grumman. The safety and health of our employees and their families is always a priority for us. And so we've been working really closely with our employees to make sure that the safety protocols are in place. Those that have to actually show up to work in person during the pandemic are able to do so in a safe environment. And it's been really, honestly, rewarding to see how the employees have been able to be resilient and be able to pivot the work that they're doing and refocus and still be able to provide excellent quality for our customers.
Yeah. And it probably especially important for you guys as well because you serve as a large employer to a number of companies that contract with you and help build component pieces and parts. And so, with that, you've got to be extra careful in protecting not only those employees that work for you, but those that may be coming in and out of the workplace. Kudos to you and the other manufacturing companies who have survived this challenging time and are still continuing to keep your employees safe, to help them grow in their roles within your company, help them become leaders and managers, and go home at the end of the day in the same condition that they got there and healthy. And again, kudos for caring for those team members. Andy, it's been a pleasure to talk just a few minutes about things that are important to Northrop Grumman. Certainly workforce for us and talent acquisition, talent retention is a key part of what we're working towards. Look forward to working with you guys throughout the year in addressing talent needs for the aerospace and defense industry and helping look at some outside of the box innovative ways to do that. So last words?
We love UMA. It's a great organization. We appreciate everything that you guys do for manufacturers. And this legislative session's been really unique given the current circumstances that we've been facing. But it's been cool to see how the business community has still been able to engage and provide their perspective and opinion on the issues that matter most to us. Yeah.
Thanks for what you guys do up on the Hill. Thanks for being a part of that and being a part of the organization. We truly value you as a partner of UMA. And again, we look forward to next week, not just because it's the end of the legislative session,
which is nice.
Which is nice, I won't lie, but is an opportunity for us to kind of button up a different session, get some wins on some things that help us continue to be a business-friendly state. And maybe just the last shot is if we want to continue to claim to be Forbes best managed state, fiscally the best state in the nation to do business in, we've got to continue to be aggressive on the policy front to make sure that businesses like Northrop Grumman can continue to grow and expand and do the things that you want to do here. So we look forward to addressing those issues. Again, thanks for being here and present on UMA on the Hill. And for week 6, I'm Todd Bingham, Utah Manufacturers Association, and we'll see you next week.